very awkward.
I just didn't like her glasses.
Oh,
They were bugging the heck out of me.
no.
It's punk. So when is your next appearance?
Well, oh, she's actually gonna come here to our house and do a like a live walkthrough of the house.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what she's.
I don't know what that's gonna be like, but she'll be here next Tuesday. So
Oh,
yeah.
is that going to be live?
She said she'll have to check the Wi-Fi and see if it's strong enough for her to do it live from here. And I don't know, like she hasn't really told me what that's going to entail. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
that's going to be the guest house or your house?
The guest house. Yeah. No, it's a little too chaotic over here.
Mm. And we're missing Dottie's brother.
We're waiting on him just like at church.
Bosco had his first play date yesterday.
Did he?
Yeah,
So,
with another Omishima street dog.
that'll be his next sibling.
Well, it had been adopted, so they was adopted about a year ago and came back to visit, and they asked if they could come meet Bosco.
I see Pumpkin's got the place of honor back there.
Yeah.
Looks like he's getting in trouble.
Yeah, he looks sneaky. Mm.
Does the cat sleep a lot, Danny?
Yeah, I think typical cat.
They sleep a lot?
A fair amount, yeah.
Interesting.
He gets really feisty in the morning, early morning time, but the rest of the day he mostly just sleeps.
In the morning too. Oh, what's he doing?
That's Lilo.
Um, that's Artu in the corner.
Are they playing?
Yeah. I think Lilo started it this time.
They never play this late in the day.
No. But since we had the dinner at church, we didn't get home till a little after 2. So it kind of threw their schedule off.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, Lilo's winning. Playing Alpha Dog.
Are they wrestling?
Yeah, all you can hear is the toenails, just tip tapping. And it's over. Just that quick. What you want? You can come get it. There you go. Oh my goodness. She came to say hello.
Oh, there she is. Look at those ears.
Yeah. You never know if she's at attention because they always stay up. They're always... Oh, you done? That was it. You're done.
Could it be?
Looks like.
Looks like an attempt anyway.
Mm-hmm. A blanket with the falling off the cushion or something. It's a scarf and a cushion. That one. Like Danny went to this Ellen. She got his too. Yeah.
I read there was a lot more tourists in the last few years for Mardi Gras.
You know more than us.
That's all I read. I read that it was extra packed.
We don't go.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the last parades over here was today. It was Marty Paws,
Oh,
the dog parade, and there's one more Crew de Pooch, and that's the end of them. That one's next week. Our dogs will not be attending.
It's the end until St. Patrick's Day.
Well, yeah.
Okay, Al's trying to get on. He's having some trouble.
Ah,
Won't let him start the video.
We only got to wait another 5 minutes, and then if the professor's not there, you leave.
that'd be funny if we all got off.
Oh, maybe he's coming. I see a sign up there.
That sign's been there.
Oh, his name? Yeah, his name's been there for a while.
Well, no, I see something other than his name.
Oh, all we
It's
see is
simple.
name.
It's like a church symbol or something like that.
No, all we see is Al Keller. Well, that's all we see.
Must be because you're right next door.
We have better
Maybe,
perception.
maybe. I have a close connection.
Yeah.
I see the Luther seal, what do they call it? We have at our church. I see that.
Yeah,
We don't see that.
Martin Luther's seal is up on there, where his name was.
We don't have that
See
yet.
that?
All we have is his name.
Okay, I don't have his name. I have the seal now.
So can you all only see like about about 5 things and you have to scroll?
Do what?
Is that
Are you limited to how many frames you can see of people and then you have to scroll to see if there's any more people?
I don't know.
We've got all 6 of them up there now.
Yeah,
One, two,
there he is.
you can change the settings. How many people it'll show you.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm afraid to mess with settings. This is the first time I've come on direct with no problems in a while. So I'll play later.
Whoops.
Looks like we can see him, but can't hear him.
Yeah,
Settings.
on the phone. They'll be playing.
Be reading Facebook or
I
something.
don't know. He's talking, but we don't-
talking. He's talking, but we don't hear him. I'll tell him. He's connecting to audio, it says.
yeah. Oh, he is.
No, no, this is not Zach. This is Dottie.
Oh shoot, no.
Am I in yet?
There you
Now
are.
I think you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good grief.
I heard him.
Had another minute, we were leaving.
And in less than a minute, I'm trying to figure out what in the world is going on.
I heard Anita say, "Oh no, are we losing it?"
Everybody
let's-
can't hear him.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, you all can hear me now. Boy, it's a little crazy. What in the world? Yeah, I know. I want to get started. I got to figure out what's going on, though. I'm just letting this go, and I'm thinking, what? Something's happening. Zach, thank you. Can you make me host again? Thank you.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Now let's see. Just don't go anywhere yet. Okay, share screen. Let's make sure this is going to work up. Wow.
Is it because you're putting all that stuff on there? Maybe?
I have no idea.
Hmm.
Okay. I think I'm in. And
Okay.
I think it's screen sharing. Now, Zach, what is going on? Any idea what's happening here?
I don't think he hears you.
I don't know if he hears me.
Can anybody hear you now?
Can y'all hear me?
All right, I gotta step out. All right, what's going on?
Oh, okay.
Well, I was wondering, do you have any idea what's happening now? I was getting in before, and all of a sudden, this is going crazy.
How so? I mean, we could see your screen. We could see the Science of Genesis.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it now, right?
Yeah, we
But I
see
mean,
your
before,
slideshow.
when I first
Everything
came
look- I don't know. I think
I don't know.
everything looks pretty normal on our end.
Yeah, I know. It looked pretty normal on my end, but my end's well, everything in this house is abnormal, so I guess that's nothing new there. We won't worry with that. I'll have
I
to
think-
keep.
So
Yeah.
you know how it prompts you that. You know how when you first got in the meeting, it told you, "Hey, the meeting's being recorded,"
Yeah,
and then you hit OK.
yeah.
And then it said the meeting's being live streamed, and then you hit OK. I think there may be a safeguard where people have to hit OK before it shows them. You know, because maybe some
Oh,
people
okay.
are
Check
maybe
that out,
some people hesitate.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to use that and see what happens next time.
All right,
It's
see ya.
been 2 weeks for an experience, so I think we got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
No
And
problem.
we will open with prayer. Again, Heavenly Father, as we go through Genesis, make a little review. It helps us as we understand who we are and how we got here. It also it helps us to understand this whole thing of sin and then how it grows. Teach us, Father, as we approach as we are in Lent now, to see the cancerous effect of sin in our lives, but also the loving effect of your Son, Jesus Christ, as he washes us clean. In your Son's name, Father, we pray. Amen.
Can you bring the screen up just a little bit? Stand up, maybe. Oh, I didn't need to do
Screen
that.
sharing has stopped. Now, what has happened there?
Say, forget it. I just wanted you, so you could be more in the picture, you
Let's see if
see?
I can get this out. No, what has happened there? Okay, let's go here, and I
Ah,
can get this
mercy.
fixed.
Sorry, you touched the screen.
Yeah, I know. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Bring it back up.
I won't ask you to do that anymore. But they can see you better now.
There it goes.
Right.
Okay. Uh,
Can they hear you?
yeah, I think they can.
Ask
Like-
them.
You all can hear me, right? Good.
Yeah.
This is a comedy of errors on this end, so don't worry. What I did, I
So
kind of put everything.
You're on your own on this part.
Why am I on my own on this part? This is getting weird. I'm getting old. I think that's what it is. It's got to be something like that.
We already
This is
are.
too silly.
We already are.
Okay. What I've done, I kind of put everything together real quick here and change the slides just a wee bit, but they're going to go all the way where we're going with this. Because I thought in the process of what I was doing, I thought it's got to be somehow a total. And this is where we started. Just a very, very quick review on this one here and then move on. But you'll see why I'm doing this in the beginning. You know, we have the first day of Genesis. And that's where he creates earth, light, time, or earth rotation. You see that. The second day, the firmament and the seas. Now, the third day,
So all we can see is an index of titles.
an index of titles.
It's got your Microsoft 35, discover what you can do.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, don't worry. Let's see what this is
Oh,
showing. Oh, I see what it is. You got it there? Okay. Oh, there we go. Did that do it? No, this is silly. What in the world?
You usually click on
Okay, there's a screen. Oh, wait. Did that bring it in?
Yep,
Okay.
we see it.
Yes.
Okay, go on. Okay.
There used to be a house around Fontainebleau that would take me right now, but I'm not sure it's still there. Okay, here we go again. The Earth, the first day, the second day. We had the first day. This is that new instrument here that's causing it. The first day, the Earth light time rotation of the Earth. Second day, the firmament and the seas. You have the rocks and everything and the seas. But the third day, the seas are continents, and he fills the earth with grass. Now, the fourth day is the creation of the sun and the moon. And note, providing light for life on earth.
Mhm.
And again, like I said, I'm just going through this fast. If you have any questions you want to stop me on, that's fine. The fifth day is creation of marine life, animals and birds at that point. And the sixth day, the creation of living beings and all their kind. If you follow that, there is logic to it. I mean, when you follow it, because you have now everything has something to eat, if you will, and it had it before. Now, this is going to get a little more interesting as we get through there. The creation of man on the sixth day. Now, there's something here that I think, as I went through this, I thought, okay, this is important. If you notice what I have here, it's verses 26 and 27. And again, we're on one, but this is only chapter 1. I'm just reviewing something.
Okay.
When God created man, he created him out of the dirt and the ground. But the dirt was holy. The whole earth, that's holy ground. So he creates man, and then he breathes into man's nostrils the breath of life. And man's soul is the breath of God. He's the only, he only does it with us. Everything else is math. There's a natural, but it is God. And so this makes a big difference in man. And when you're looking at the image, man has the image of God. He's capable of creation. He's only a created thing, though, so he can only go so far. But if you look at that and understand it, the soul and the body are united together in one harmony. It is harmony.
Yeah.
And so when he creates the woman, he takes it from the rib of Adam, creates woman, and breathes into her the breath of life. And she is now. And what you have now, both of them, their soul and their bodies are harmonious. I don't know if that makes any sense now.
Sure.
The land's all holy, they're holy. And now there's nothing to separate the body and the soul, because they're both going to go on, they're going to develop together.
Right.
Now, what happens here is at this point, and he says when we get to chapter 2, that when he does that, he gives them as man and wife. And we'll get to that one pretty quickly. But this is a very quick creation of it. And now we go into chapter 2. Now, in chapter 2, I did something here. It's a little different. The seventh day, you have the Sabbath of the creation of the Sabbath. And God rests on that day. He's finished. He's created the heavens, the earth, and everything that's in it. And now he rests, and he blesses them on the seventh day. So the seventh day is going to be particular now, because God rested on it. And he said, it's finished. Now we're going to enjoy it. Now, chapter 2 is a historical account of the world. And it's going to go on to chapter 4 to verse 26.
Historical account.
The whole historical account. It's going to continue into 426.
Okay.
And what we find out here is that Moses now narrates some of the facts of creation in detail.
Yeah, he does.
The earth is watered by a mist. No. And we in New Orleans can relate to that. You know, you get this fog in the morning. Sometimes you get up in the morning, you have this fog all over everything. Well, that's what waters everything now. And now follows the full account. He goes into the creation of man. And again, it's the same thing. Man created out of the dust of the ground. God breathes into man's nostrils, becomes a living soul. Now, that's markedly different than he did with the animals.
They have a soul too, though, but it's not like ours.
Right. And he's going to also, now what he does, at this point, woman isn't created yet. God plants a garden east of Eden. Now, this map here, which you see, this is the map. If I can go down, I found something that I thought might be helpful. This is where they think Eden was. If you can see it on the biblical location.
So small, I can't read.
With
Say green point.
that's where they think the garden extended into the Persian Gulf.
This is Garden of Eden.
Yeah, Garden of
Can't
Eden.
read it from here.
Now, this is where it was in the ancient world. You know, you got Babylon, Sumer, all of those ancient empires.
And that's where the
And
Garden of Eden.
the Garden of Eden would be right here at the mouth. That's where they think it was. Using everything they had, because they have the rivers here. You see, they have a river here, and the Red Sea is part of a river. And to show how it comes, this part of it comes across right here and goes into here. So they think this is at least men going through all this and studying it has come up with this idea. I thought, okay, we just as well have this. This is helpful. The ancient Near East, that's a map of what it looked like during the early, probably 1200 BC, somewhere by now. Might even go back even further. But this one here, the one on the right, is where the Garden of Eden would have been, according to what he's saying so far.
What countries are there now?
Iraq, Babylon,
Okay,
St. Lo. There it is there.
okay.
Akkad, Babylon, Sumer. This is all Iraq up in here now.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you got Persia here, right here.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if we go in and we come now into chapter. We're still we're in chapter 2 now, and he's going the Garden of Eden. We'll look at that where it is. Adam then is placed in the garden, but man lacks a companion.
Verse 21.
And verse 21, the creation of woman in marriage. If we look at that in verse 2:21, you'll see what he's saying here. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam, and he slept. And he took one of the ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. Then the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife."
Please, his wife. And they shall be.
See, so right there, you ever wonder where it is? There it is, right there.
Right there.
Yeah, that's marriage. When he created Eve for Adam, and that's it. And the other thing I think that's important there is she's created as a part of him. Now, one of the things that's very strange about this, and and this is what made me go back and say, okay, let me look at this a little bit more, was the Greeks apart, the pagan world. As I think I mentioned it, the pagan world felt that when the gods created man originally, they created him into a ball. And they were getting much like Babylon, getting too smart, so what they had to do is split the ball. Well, they split them all differently because they didn't want them to come together right. And so when they met, when people married, the idea would have been, if there was a perfect match, the ball would roll in harmony and it'd be a perfect, smooth marriage. But if it doesn't fit, there's going to be these bumps every now and then they're going to hit. And that was the idea to mess it up. But it's still that same idea that originally they were one. And this is what essentially what he's saying here. And then the creation of the woman in marriage comes in now at chapter 2. Now he's going to go in. Any questions on that so far?
Today in the
Yeah.
sermon, and again here, you said that he also breathed life into the woman. Did he do that, or did she get the soul because Adam had the soul and she came from Adam?
No. She's got her own soul.
Okay.
She's got her own soul. And the
But-
thing
but-
that's
But it never said he breathed into Eve. Like when he went to, like when he talked about Adam and he breathed and Adam became a living soul. And it never said any place where he breathed into Eve. He just took him from Adam.
yeah, no, it doesn't there. And it didn't.
I think
Yeah. That can't answer. I missed that. See, even when you go through it, let's see now. Let me see something. Adam sinned. I've got that. They don't have a hint on it either. They don't talk bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. There it is. That is okay. Yeah, they just move on from there. He took Adam, made her into a woman, and he brought her to the man.
But maybe
But-
because Adam was one, he already had a body and a soul fused as one. So
That
in
could be.
making Eve from him, that's, that would, because I know Eve had a soul just like Adam.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh no.
Good point.
That's a good point. I mean, I missed that totally. I'm so busy thinking, okay, it's the body and the soul, bing. It doesn't say that at all. And this is where these are the kind of little hints you get that make the Bible, at least for me, make it fun and interesting, but also a little scary because you can miss something so easily. You read over it, and sure enough, and the rib which God had taken from man, he made it to a woman, and he brought her to man.
Is Christmas says because she's designed to enter into this soluble
It's a soluble
and
relationship.
she used to stand at his side.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And that's what they're saying over here too. It's
Holy wedlock,
that's
yeah.
what I'm thinking.
Probably because they're married.
Yeah. See, the marriage. The marriage is this union between two people that are going to work together in harmony. Now, this works out real well. I think it works out better when you're in the wilderness because you don't have a choice. They don't. You really don't have a choice but to work together. But more when there's the goods come in and wealth comes in, then they can go their own separate way, and they do. But it's going to. It shows you there's a difference. It comes in pretty quickly. Because, and I think as we get into it, it's gonna, no matter which way I went with it, we end up in the same place. So we start here on chapter 3 and the temptation. Now I haven't finished that totally. You see, time that doesn't fit in there. So, but I'm gonna be replacing that pretty quickly. And I've got the times. Wait, what happened here? Okay, we'll just run through it because I'm gonna go through this anyway. The tradition of the fall. And I'm on 3 again. We'll run through because I want to get to 4 fairly quickly. And the serpent was more cunning than the beast of the field. And the Lord God made, and he said to the woman, has God indeed said, you shall not eat of every tree? If you notice what happens when Satan tempts us, it's always with questions. He never gives us a solution. If you notice, and one of the things we kind of chuckle, we were dealing right now with Hannibal in the Roman world. Hannibal has this dream, and when he looks behind him, he wants to conquer Rome. His father trained him to conquer Rome from right off. And he looks behind him and he sees this big serpent coming. And the guy says, and he leaves devastation wherever he goes. And the little boy that shows him the dream tells him, don't ask where it's going. You don't want to see the end. Well, the end, what it was with the serpent was Rome. It destroyed Carthage and Hannibal too. And this is what Satan does over and over again. And this is what he does once again. And you heard what Satan was doing with Jesus. He tempts us with questions that suggest more than they can actually give. And we fall into that trap and end up with real pain. You really see it in the situation where when a couple comes and lives together before they get married, a lot of times, I know some that worked out very well, but a lot of times they just fall apart. You know, there's a violence that comes in between it. And this is it. The question, has God said to you, you shall not eat of every tree in the garden? And a woman said, we may eat of every tree in the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden. And he said, the day you eat it, nor shall you touch it, you shall die. So now she's added something to it. And we do this too all the time. You add something to it that's not there, and already you weakened your whole argument. You know, if you have something we want to do, and our parents tell us not to, we're going to try to add something to it that's going to make it look like it's going to work. And what happens a lot of times on that when it doesn't, it looks like it works, it sounds like it works, but after you get into it, it really falls apart. One of the parents was telling me, I think kind of this today, we're kind of laughing at it. Her son was going to the parade last week, kind of enjoyed all the parades, and he was just going to do some things, but he'd be right back. And he went there and started doing things and having fun, but I don't know whatever happened. Nothing serious happened. But instead of coming right home like he was supposed to, he went and roamed around a little bit. Mom couldn't find him. She said, okay, now when he gets home, she said when he got home, he's grounded and he won't forget a while, not tell her where he's going when she's going somewhere. But when he's out there, you know, well, this doesn't matter a little bit. I can do that. You know, and I know what he's did because I did that so many times. You know, but this is what, again, Satan always leads us with a question. Starts a question and we have to answer it. Is this going to be fun? Yeah, I think it will be. We'll try it. And then it's not. And the curse of God. Yeah. Did somebody say something? Okay. I thought somebody said something. Okay. But he says, now, once this is done, something has happened when they eat of the apple. Because what is God said they would die? Now, if you don't think about this whole relationship between body and soul, it's not going to make any sense. But what you realize now in the creation, God is at the top of all of this because the body he creates out of the dirt of the ground and the soul he breathes. And God being, that soul is going to go on forever. But the body, now that man has sinned, the body would have, but now that man has sinned, this relationship between body and soul has changed. Because the body must die, but the soul goes on. And you can see the chaos that it's created in all of us by the whole process of aging. And what it means, though, is that in the end, you know, we're going to go to dust of the ground. But this is going to get us back to Paul now, because what you have is holy ground. And the one thing you learn throughout the Bible is man can't step on holy ground. So in order for this whole thing to straighten out, God then has to curse the earth. And this is what he's going to do. And this is where you learn in Paul. If you think about how that fits, Paul in Romans chapter 8, this is how Paul adds it. For I consider the sufferings of this present time are not worthy compared to the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creation eagerly awaits for the revealing of the sons of God. See, we're the ones that messed it up. If we straighten up, it'll straighten up. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope. So it brings in now where you can now see where this chaos is going to come from now. With that one sin, man's body is going to go to the dirt of the ground, but the dirt can't take it because it's holy. Now the dirt's got to be polluted. And now you where we are now. The other thing, I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head and you shall bruise his heel. It's going to be a battle between what we thought snakes and man. This is something good too with the Bible when you're reading it, because you have to keep open on this. Because when you're thinking of this whole thing of snakes and man, snakes and Christ, it doesn't fit because we saw what actually happened. But there is something else about this. God curses the snakes, and the snake is a reptile. Now, when you think of the early reptiles, when you really get into it, I'm not an expert on dinosaurs, but I don't ever remember seeing a dinosaur that just the snake. I mean, they may have had it. I'm sure they did, but I don't see them. All of these things have legs.
They took away the legs.
And what God does is I'm taking away the legs from this particular one. And another thing that's kind of interesting about that is Satan was the most beautiful angel that God created. And the way this thing is put, the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. This particular one, of kind. So it's one of the best. And it's the one that goes bad. And now he curses it. It's going to have to go. And he says to the woman, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. Now, when you see this whole idea of marriage and the whole idea of the body and the soul, when they're united in harmony, you can see how they can work. But when they're not in harmony, the body and the soul, then the whole process is going to be affected by it. And now what he's saying, the woman, no matter what she tries to do, is going to be related to the man. There's going to be the man that's going to control the situation. Now, again, we've worked with this. I don't know, even at the seminary, when they talked, they didn't go into this about it. But the one thing they said, marriage is always the same. It should be a harmonious relationship between a man and a woman. But what God is saying, what you look at what's going on in our society now, you realize, wow, how it's changed. Now, one of the things when dealing with the kids, I came across this. There's a book I've been reading. I started reading when I was here at NO. I got it for the first time. And it's called Hidden Persuaders by Vance Packard. And it tells you how Madison Avenue, or how these commercials and all are written and where they're going. And it's a study. And I'll just read you the back end of it because it relates to this in a strange way. He says, a revealing, often shocking explanation of new techniques of research and methods of persuasion. Now, this was written in about 1957. It's still used at some colleges. Now, it was used at a lot of universities in economics. Why? Okay, this book tells why your wife buys 35% more at every supermarket than she really intends to. He's going to tell you why that is. Why your children like cereals that crackle and crunch. Now, he's not telling you that. He's telling you why. Why almost every woman fails to buy the dress she just naturally loves. Why so many of us are afraid of banks. Why, and this was the one I thought is really, men's clothing are becoming feminized.
Wow.
And this is in the 50s. And why men think of a mistress when they see a convertible in a show window. Why? And why men wouldn't give up shaving even if they could. Now, he has this little bottom line here, not bottom, but a little paragraph that goes into this. In this book, you will discover a world of psychology professors turned merchandisers. You'll learn how they operate, what they know about you and your neighbors, and how they are using that knowledge to sell you cake mixes, cigarettes, cars, soaps, and even ideas. 1957. So you see it even then, what I'm showing there, even then, there's this recognition of what's happening now. And I mean, Sharon was talking about something. I'm trying to think what it is, but I do with Paul Harvey, where he predicts where we are now. And Rosalie's been reading this book from Grace Livingston Hill, who is the model for Christian writing, romance writing for America. And she started in about 1910, somewhere up in there. And already in 1910, she's already talking about where we are now. It becomes so obvious. And that's the point I'm making here is that as we go through this, you'll begin to see that happening. You begin to see it coming through even in the Bible. Because remember, what they did at this point, there's really not that much sin. Well, God drives man from paradise. He can't because he's staying away from the garden of the tree of life. He's got to be away from there. And it's going to take us now into chapter 4. Now, chapter 4, this goes to verse 26 for the introduction of the Genesis. And if you follow what's happening there, it's very interesting. Now, he starts with 4, the initial conflict. Now, Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. So already she's looking at this Messiah. They're already looking at it. This is where it comes. Then she bore again, this time, his brother Abel. Now, Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to the Lord. Abel also brought the firstlings of his flock and of their fat. And the Lord respected Abel and his offering.
The humble things of Abel.
But he did not respect Cain and his offering. And Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell. So what Cain is doing, and they tell you, Cain is offering not the best, but what he has. What he has, and he thinks it's good enough. Where Abel is setting the best aside and offering the best. Now, when you think of stewardship in the church, most people, they there's only so much they can do. Like so many times, I have no argument with that. Well, Pastor, I've got 4 kids. I've got to deal with. We're paying on it. We're paying on a house. We're paying on a car. There's so many things we're trying to pay on, and we just don't have the funds for it. And we're giving you it as much as we can. Or you hear the other. I hate when a church comes around and demands funds. And I can understand that too. But what you have, it's an attitude that is showing, and you see it right here between Cain and Abel. And one thing that I found is that usually, and at least at Emmaus you could see it, and it was the amazing part of it, was that there are some who just keep giving. And I know the one that really taught me was the Menowishes. They were absolutely the poorest people in the church. There was no doubt about it. Was the mother and her daughter, Patty. And Patty had cerebral palsy, forced to lay in a bed, couldn't get out. And I think I told you all about her. But in either case, she didn't want anything. No matter what you brought, she didn't want it. And she was a little upset when you left it, but she needed it. But then if you look at others, we had other ladies coming in, men coming in, they didn't need it, but they wanted it and were going to get it. And they felt upset if you didn't give it to them. This is the whole thing. Cain's was. So the Lord said to Cain, now this is before anything happens. Notice again, he's giving him a warning here. So the Lord said to Cain, why are you, there we go. Why are you angry? And why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at your door. And its desire is for you, but you should rule over it. So he's just giving a heads up. Doesn't always work with people, I've noticed we noticed that a couple of times talking with people. Now Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass that they were in the field, that Cain rose against Abel, his brother, and killed him. And the Lord said to Cain, where is Abel, your brother? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what have you done? Notice he did the same thing with Eve.
Yeah, what have you done?
And Adam, what have you done? He's looking for us to admit our sins. But we really don't. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. So now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you till the ground, it shall no longer yield in strength to you. A fugitive and a vagabond you shall be on the earth. And we're going to get back to him pretty quickly, but he's at least holding it but then Cain is saying, that's not fair. That's not fair. My punishment's too greater than I can bear. Surely you have driven me out this day from the face of the ground. I shall be hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond on the earth, and it will happen that anyone who finds me will kill me. And see, he's afraid. That's all he is at this point.
Not nuts.
And nothing repentant anyway.
No.
And the Lord said to him, therefore, whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And this is going to come up again pretty quickly. And the Lord set a mark on Cain, lest anyone finding him should kill him. So notice what has happened. And when you think about this, and this would be kind of the tough part, because I know one of the things I found when I was working as a pastor, when we had funerals, the one thing I heard so many times over and over again was the hardest thing in the world was for a mother to bury her child. It's just not fair, Pastor. Why should she go or he go? It's so difficult to bury my child. And I know others that have talked about that. But what that says with Eve is 100 times worse, because she's the very first. And what has happened, Eve was told the day she eats of that, she shall die. And she hasn't. But she's seen the death of her son, Abel. And that had to be quite a blow. The first time. Now they understand death. They don't understand it fully yet. But they've got a real good idea what it's about now. Because, she's lost both of her sons. Cain's going to have to run. Abel's dead. And this is why when they get here, they cover Cain, the family of Cain. And this is the other side of it. Then Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And to the east of Eden is going to be more towards China in that area. But he's not China, he's not going that far. And Cain knew his wife. Now see, one of Adam and Eve's children had to go with him. The girl, one of the sisters, had married him. And now she's going to have to follow him. So now she's lost somebody else in the family. It has to be. There's no other way. Yeah. It's the first one. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch. Now, this one I never really thought about until two books when they started talking about this. This is important. Watch what happens here. To Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Mehuel, and Mehuel begot Methuselah, and Methuselah begot Lamech. Then Lamech took for himself 2 wives.
She's the first one.
The name of one was Ada, and the name of the second was Zillah. And Ada bore Jabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock.
Beginning of the nomadic life.
So you got here the beginning of the nomadic life.
And the first
with this one here, right?
More than one wife.
Right. And the first one, polygamy.
Lamech.
Right off. This is why they're using it for. It's going to continue. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all those who play the harp and flute.
Interesting.
So now he's into the musical side. Now, and as for Zillah, she also bore Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every crafts in bronze and iron. Again, what you have here is like a sculptor, and he's going to be working. They're building things.
It's all material.
And the sister of Tubal-Cain is Naamah. Then Lamech said to his wives, what you have here is they've created, and it's not coming from Adam, but they've created the work of the arts and construction.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And they make a point for that. They make a point out of that, as they're looking at that, thinking about,
eternal.
right, there's nothing certain.
The earthly thing.
Right. Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. Now he comes back. O wives of Lamech, listen to my speech. For I have killed a man for wounding me, even a young man for hurting me. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77-fold.
So,
He's bragging about it.
mhm.
See? And Adam knew in godly line of Seth, and Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and named him Seth. For God has appointed another seed for me instead of Abel, whom Cain killed.
This is the first instance of all the poetry here.
Right. And as
When Adam's off.
And as for Seth, to him also a son was born, and he named him Enosh.
Enosh.
Enos. And the man began to call on the name of the Lord. So you have all of the arts coming right out of
Cain.
the Cain side of the family. And on the other side, which you have now Seth, he's going to they're finally going back to the Lord. But the main things that are the Messiah is going to come out of Seth.
Yeah. They declared him the Messiah.
So you've got the arts are created, the works created, you've already got the men in the field, and you've got the two separate worlds already. You have one group that's following the Lord and another group that's not, right off the bat. And this is where 26, this is where the history of the world ends. Now,
Wow.
one thing about the Old Testament, whenever you see a genealogy, the genealogy is just the ending of wherever you are in the beginning of something new. There's a lot here. This is the book of the genealogy of Adam. In the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created them male and female, and blessed them and called them mankind in the day they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness, after the image, and named him Seth. After he begat Seth, the days of Adam were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. So all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and so he died. Seth lived 150 years and begot Enosh. After he begot Enos, I'm trying to think of the Hebrew. Enos. No, you're right. Seth lived 807 years and begot sons and daughters. And so all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And he goes on, Enos lived 900 years and begot Canaan. And after he begot Canaan, Enosh lived 815 years and begot sons and daughters. So the days of Enosh were 900. You have all these men that went on for a long time. That whole thing will cover it. But they're working up. Now, notice where, if I could read all of this, I'm not going to go through all that, I don't have to. But if I can go in 25, Methuselah lived 187 years and begat Lamech. After he begat Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. Up to this point, he's going to live the longest. Lamech lived 182 years and begot a son, and he called his name Noah.
There you go.
So now you've got it, Noah. And if you look at all of these guys, how long they live, then you can see just about how many years go. And they'll figure that out on how many years have gone by. Totally. It's going to give you a round figure that you won't be able. But now Noah's saying, and he called his name Noah, saying, this one will comfort us concerning our work and the toil of our hands because of the ground which the Lord has cursed.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going back to that. After he begat Noah, Lamech lived 595 years and begat sons and daughters. So all the days of Lamech were 770 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
It's the same name as that guy that was.
Yeah, same one. But it's not the same one, though.
But it's this, it isn't this Lamech, Cain's.
Yeah.
So,
But you're looking at, see the genealogy of Adam in that
but
day,
still, they named, they
Yeah.
had a Lamech too.
Yeah. and you don't see,
Okay, all right.
they only have so many names. But they just look at what
But
they
I
had.
was
the
surprised to
ones-
see the Lamech
Oh, yeah,
since I got.
because you go Adam, from Adam,
Okay.
and then you have Seth, and then from Seth,
Mhm.
you're following that line. That's the line there, right
It's
there,
spelled the
Seth.
same way.
Then it
too,
goes to Noah.
L-A-M-E-C-H. Yeah, same thing.
Now we've gotten
Alright.
through 5. Any questions on this anyway?
Well, it does explain where all the people came from, because that was one of the things I was going to ask. In Genesis, we started with Adam and Eve, and then Cain said, everyone's, put a mark on me. So he married his sister. So Eve was having other children, maybe not other sons, but at least some daughters there.
Mhm.
And then, so you have the line of Cain, and then you have the line of Seth, and then Adam continued to also have more sons and daughters after
Right.
Cain and Seth.
Mhm.
See, all they're doing is tracing the line of Seth here. And they're going to come back to that because you go to Seth and Noah. I mean, Seth and Adam. And it's going to take you now to Noah. And now we get onto the story of Noah. But you'll see what the rest of the world looks like, though. So you've just got that one line. Now you go to the rest of the world. Now you go, the ungodly multiply. And this is basically what they're looking at is Cain. But it's also going to come, Adam's going to add, Adam's group, there are going to be some of them in there that they're not covered that will be adding to this. Because remember, sin is now in the world.
President says with Lamech that took 2 wives.
Yeah,
It was the instituting polygamy.
right, yeah.
Whilst the purity of marriage was perverted either into wife slavery or
Yeah.
into the lust of the flesh and
Right.
lust of the
That's where it goes.
wife slavery.
Now it came to pass, on chapter 6, now it came to pass when man began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful. And they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. See? And they took wives themselves for all whom they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit will not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old and renowned. Now you go 2 ways with that. Yeah,
The
go on.
sons of God being the sons that came down through Seth's line. Is that who the sons
It's 2
of God?
things they do with this.
They call the
They-
Canaanites. there.
Right.
So this from Cain.
Yeah,
Right. The long
Right,
forsaken one.
right. He has gone away. They go with 2 ways on this one here.
Centuries.
One of them is that these are angels. It doesn't make sense, but there's some of them follow it, some of them don't. The other, most of them go
Giants?
that, these were really, the sons of God are really the sons of Adam that we're following.
Wild, lawless.
But you have to hold on to that one with the angel thing because it pops up so many times. Right, that's before the flood.
Not so bad.
Right,
There
But,
you go.
but okay, the sons of God and the daughters of men.
right.
So the daughters of men would have been probably from the Cain line, I guess.
Yeah,
Cain's
yeah.
family.
Right,
And the sons of God would probably be from the Seth line, maybe.
right, from Adam.
Okay.
That's that.
Unless I'm missing the whole thing.
No, you're not. I'm just saying, you may read places where they're talking about these are angels.
Mhm.
And it's the sons of man. The sons of God would be the angels rather than men.
How did they?
But they don't. It's mostly Adam you're going to hear it from.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Reagan Brown.
Well, I mean, the angels couldn't come down. Angels can't be men. I mean,
No,
angels are
no, no.
angels. Okay.
No.
Oh, this is
I mean, I'm just
confusing.
saying, you may hear this.
That, okay.
At one point, it was very strong. I know a lot of people have talked about that.
Dr. Zone.
The ungodly sin continually. And this is the one thing that I think we don't consider. Once you start on the track of sin, it only gets worse. It's very difficult to turn back from that sin once you've committed it. And you only usually add more to it. And by adding more to that one situation, you create a whole string of them out there.
Especially when it's sexual.
Right. So the ungodly, at this point, you see this whole growth you have here. And where are we at? Wow. There's a number when you start reading about some of this time where, and it's all theory, but they're going to move. What they look at is when you go into the Egyptian world and the Chinese world, there's advances there that we don't really understand how they got there. And they're saying at this time, man really advanced. It was all over. He was really filling the place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And it gives the idea through some men that what's really going on here is this, it's going to be, the world has a lot of people and it grows in it and then it collapses, tears everything up and starts off with a few people. And it grows and fills up the place. You get a lot of people and it kills it. You have this chaos that breaks loose and it starts off with a few people. They're using the model of what happened in the East, what happens in with the Roman Empire. Because you realize when the Roman Empire went, most people don't understand how far advanced the Romans actually were.
Yeah.
You know, much, much farther than they believe. In fact, the West, Paris and London, were the only ones that approached the sophisticated of a typical Roman city. And that was only in 1860 they did that. Nowhere else. And I know one of the strange things I found, where it was in the news all over, the New York City had sent an embassy of God, a delegation to Rome to study the aqueducts, because Rome had more fresh water than New York City does today. And if you look, one of the things that's fun, if you ever get a chance and you look at the bathrooms in Pompeii that they dug, if you saw those old bathtubs, if we go back to our time and about the 30s, that's what a typical Roman bathroom looked like.
Yeah.
And they had flush toilets. So it just gives you an idea, where they were at.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at the time, we're at 7:04. We made it to 6. I've introduced that much. And we can start here and go through. Yeah. Noah, we'll cover that. I don't know. I'll get us all the way. I'll try to get us to chapter 7, chapter 8 there. But I thought I wanted to cover this whole thing about the first 3 or 4 chapters, because it's so important. And only when you understand that, if you begin to see the difference, when you get to heaven, you've got a body and a soul that are in harmony, where sin demobilized it, if you will. So now this lack of harmony, they're not going to work well together. And that's why the soul goes on and the body doesn't. This is also going to lead, if you follow that, it also leads to the idea that man is reincarnated in different spirits because of the soul. It'll take you into reincarnation. Okay, any questions?
I have one.
Yes, no, that's fine.
If all men and women came from Adam and Eve, where do the giants fit in?
Well, see, the giant, and that's where they go. They usually go, and that's not bad. Don't worry about that. But I think what happens, if you find out, we grow differently. We grow differently because of sin. Which you find out, there was a mark when we get to Goliath. David kills one of the Goliaths. There's more. That family went on, and they were known by having, I think it's 6 toes on each foot. So, how did he do that? Just imagine, what is it? Frank looking kid, he's got 6 toes.
After the flood, they're all gone.
No, not Goliath. The Giants know they're still around. They have that.
The Giants.
Where they're tall, the same.
Okay.
They don't know what they mean. They've never seen these giants.
Right.
So you just think of tall
You
people.
don't know.
Tall people, short people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the things I heard today, I thought that would be kind of interesting. Schubert, the composer, he was known as Tubby, or also Little Mushroom. And I'm thinking, good grief, that's got to be a nice nickname, But it shows you how we all grow so differently.
But isn't when sin entered the world, then mutation entered the world too. So
Right, yeah.
what God created initially, started to change. And I guess it changed in different ways,
Oh, yeah.
and that's how you got different kinds of people.
Right. And that's why you have people trying to create people in jars and things like create people. They want to do that. And then what they do, and it's kind of, you think some of this is so stupid that you figure, wait, there's got to be something wrong. And what you realize is Satan is not a genius. Even when he tempts Jesus, he says, I'll give you all of this if you fall down and worship me. And Jesus knows his Father's got it all. He doesn't. But Satan thinks it's going to work. He's giving it a desperate try. It works well on kids, and when we're younger, it worked. I mean, he had a blast with me, I think, half the time. But we fall for those dumb things. Does that help? Yeah, go on.
The concentration, only the names mentioned were all men. Is that because of the concept that men and women were one?
No, man was ahead. Man was ahead. There's an interesting side to this too, because that's where a lot of the problem comes from. And when I think about it in real life, and you find it in all of them, even in the Bible, when we get that, you see it right off. The man is the head of the family, but the woman is the head of the house. And what that generally means, on something, the man will guide the woman and try to help her in things, but she's ultimately in charge of the house.
Religious.
But the man, he's going to be the religious leader.
Yeah.
He's going to be the religious leader. That's one of the big differences there.
So
But we don't count that. Yeah, that's very true.
Oh, see then.
Nope. Religious leader. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Got a smart one over here. He said that's
Well, why didn't he say it?
That's why the man doesn't put the toilet seat down, because the woman's in charge of the house.
Yeah, that might work. Yes. Oh, yes. Yep. Even the toilet has to
Put up
stool.
with.
I was just getting back at her because she said, that's why you don't put the dishes in the dishwasher.
See?
He's so
Yep,
tickled.
Well, you can see that. I mean, really, in real life, and it does work out. I mean, it's fun that difference that we have, but it's very, very true. I mean, if I look at it in my family, my dad was the head of the house, but mom determined what we did. My uncle wanted to take, my cousin wanted to take dad and everybody out to Alaska one time. My mom goes, I'm not going to go, so he didn't go. It is an interesting thing about life. But it never did change. It really never does change. Because realize Eve is right there, Adam standing right on side of her, and you'd go, you were not supposed to do that. Why did you do that? And not leave. But he's going to take a bite out of it. So, and what compels us to do that? I wonder, but every time I think I wouldn't do that, I realize I probably would have been worse.
You probably would have taken the first bite, huh? Just
Yeah, I might have.
out.
I
Just
might
say, "Are you sure? Are you sure it's going to kill me? Let me try this out."
Let me try it out.
Yeah.
Oh, but you can really see the effects of it. I know I think I can understand it now better than when I was younger. Because I can see the friction between the soul and the body now that I couldn't see before.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Went through the
That was
first
a lot. That was a lot for today.
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
there's not much for you got the genealogy. You can go through that pretty quickly. Some of these names will pop up a little bit, but no, mostly not.
But going on, when you were talking about the body and the soul, it's like it's a, it's makes a lot of sense because that's one thing we always talk about in philosophy. How does the body and the soul work? This kind of puts it out there,
Yeah,
how it came together, how it came apart, or
right.
came in friction, not came apart, but came in friction.
Yeah. And I know what I really when I it's this I've often thought about what the Greeks said about them being one and then splitting it, and I'm thinking there was a similarity. But only when I really this time, well, it's been working there, this whole thing with the body and the soul and how important that actually is. And there it was so clear. The ground is holy, and then you find out God curses the ground. So now, at least one thing now, why when Paul writes in chapter 7, excuse me, about the creation being subject, putting in not because it wanted to, but because of us. There it makes a lot of sense. It's very clear. It's right out of the Bible. But until you know that and really look at that, you'd never understand it. It also does something else too that we haven't gotten into. I don't know if we will, but this whole idea of animals having a soul too.
Oh, yeah. They have life.
The Greeks said they did. Everybody said they did. Only recently you've come out with us saying they didn't have a soul, but then they say we don't have a soul either. I mean, the modern world I'm looking at. But I remember so many passages when I was at the seminary, and this is what really started me really thinking about this, was when I went to talk to a teacher, one instructor one time. He was a pastor, and I'm looking, I saw something strange, and I'm thinking, what? And he noticed it. He says, "Hey, Al, you see something strange, don't you, Al?" And I said, "Well, no." He says, "Oh, that's my dog's tail. He's under here." He says, "And you see his wag when he wags his tail, he goes out from under the desk and comes back." And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Oh," he says, "Well, he says, Dr. Price and I, and we all talk about this. The faculty gets on this one here. And we go, God couldn't create something so honorable and so devoted and so loving as these animals we have and not have them in heaven too."
Right.
So he says, "When I go to heaven, I'm going to see all my pets up there."
I hope so.
But he was dead serious on that now.
Oh, God.
And I know we found a lot of comfort in it. I mean, oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's nothing else, can we close with prayer? Again, Heavenly Father, we come together as we've been going through this book. It's helped us understand a lot about ourselves and the body and the soul. And now we come to the big day, Noah. And from Noah, once we move out of Noah, we move into what we might call the modern age. From time and history, this is where history will come in the writing, and we can record from that. But up to this point, we don't know a whole lot about it except from your word. Help us and guide us as we go through Noah to see how really we haven't changed. We love sin, and the more we have sin, the more we enjoy it, and the more we enjoy it, the worse it gets. Keep us protected from all of that. Guide us in your truth, and help us always to focus on the price your son paid to set us free from this sin. And as we go through that word, now as we're in Lent, we focus on our own mistakes that we made along the way. In your son's name, Father, we offer all of this in true humility and truth. Amen. Okay.
See you next week. Take care.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I dropped a piece of paper off here. See if I can get it.
Pastor, are you still there? We're
Yes,
not
I am.
recording anymore.
No, no,
Are
I'm
we
here.
still recording?
Uh,
'Cause-
Probably. Let's see if I can turn it up for you.
Ah, there's my paper.
Okay. Come on, mouse. Not working too well right now. Just bear with me. Now, what has happened here? Okay, there we go.
Do you want me to keep the book?
Okay. Oh, whoops! I saw that.
You want me to keep
Yeah.
pressing here?
Oh, no, you can take it with you.
Okay.
That's okay. It's just,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you intentionally had that in your sermon today, but I had written that down
Yes.
after the sermon when you were talking about the soul and the flesh. It was
Yes.
it was starting to really come together. It was just a really good, starting to understand it, because I've looked a little bit like when we talked about the Greeks and all believed in the soul. And I remember in modern philosophy, for some reason, it was like, oh, and Descartes, come up with the body. So Descartes didn't come up with that. All the ancient philosophers, I didn't understand why they were just
Absolutely.
coming out. Modern philosophy was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
strange. It's like, but anyway, this was a real good thing. And the other thing I was thinking about, like the flesh dies, the soul continues on, and then we will be reunited with the perfect body.
Yes.
Those of us who believe, and who
Yeah.
are saved. So the unbeliever, the soul continues on. Will their body come back to them, or their body just stays forever? Well, we just
Oh,
don't
no.
know.
No, it's their soul is in hell, and their body comes back to them.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
what it says in Thessalonians.
Okay. And the other thing good today, and I have to still think, I still have to process it, and that was the difference between believe in God and believe God. And it's
Yes.
like, I guess believe God, maybe that's when the boldness comes in faith, and believe in God, you have faith,
Right.
but maybe not bold in it. I have to
Right,
think about that, but so it was very, very interesting, very good. I just, when you listen, you try not to let your mind go off
Oh,
too
no, I
far.
understand. Yes. I
but
never know. I thank you for that, because I never know if it makes anything, if anyone thinks about it or what, so I never know that
something
myself.
started to click, and then you have to let it be for a little while and think about
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do that all the time.
And then things start to come together a little bit, and then they fall apart again, and they come together.
Just like
So,
our bodies. Mine's doing that now.
well, anyway, thank you, and have a good week. I know you have a busy week, so
Oh, okay.
okay.
Thank you very much for coming, Anita. Any questions you have, don't be afraid to ask them.
Sometimes I ask them, I wish we weren't recording, but it's like it doesn't stop me from answering questions.
No, ask them anyway. No, ask them. They need to know that. Seriously.
Yeah, but I am glad we got to have the face-to-face Bible study a long time ago when Kyle was going through confirmation, because it makes it easier to talk now.
Oh,
I don't
yes,
think
yeah,
I would have.
yeah.
I don't think I would do that good if we hadn't had that. So enjoy. Well, I won't say enjoy the rest of your week. Work hard and get those kids in shape.
Oh, believe me, I've got to do that.
Okay, you have a good night. Good night's rest.
You too. Thanks you very much.
Okay,
Bye
bye.
bye.